So we'll go ahead and get started. This is our Lunch and Learn series. We will start next month with the Lunch and Learn series, Ask the Expert, being live here at the association. It'll be our first one live next month. But today we have Blake Chapman with State Insurance, and we're gonna talk about all things insurance. So if you have any questions, please unmute yourself, ask your questions, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Awesome. Sounds great for sure. Thanks so much for letting me share some things on the insurance industry, what we're seeing. Angela, appreciate it. And we appreciate the opportunity. So yeah, we'll let whoever jumps in or has any questions. I've just got a simple presentation that I've done just as far as kind of getting prepared for hurricane season that I did back beginning of June or whatnot, that I've got some slides. Do you guys see, can you see the slides without any issue? The one that says got hurricanes, get prepared. Can you see that I'm sharing with you?
I can see it, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. So, but I would say, I definitely can leave a lot of this open to questions and give you like a really, really good overview of what's kind of happening in the market. And that's what I'm going to do with this quick slides. But, and then I'd say ask any questions, because it seems like we got a small group or whatnot. Ask any questions. And I can tell you, what we're seeing across the board on a day-to-day basis from the insurance side. And definitely when it comes to listing a new home or showing a buyer a new home, the things to look for as far as what could be problematic for insurance, getting an insurance, homeowners insurance policy, whether it's for a rental home or it's for a primary owner occupied or seasonal or condo or anything of those things. But we'll dive in and just kind of hit some of this stuff at a high level or whatnot on what's kind of happening in the industry as far as the insurance industry for sure. So again, my name's Blake Chapman with State Insurance USA, and been in the insurance industry in Florida since 2008. And so I've seen a lot of changes. I'm a second generation insurance agent. So my father was a long time, or still is, insurance agent in Charlotte County. And so seen a lot when it comes to insurance, a lot of changes over the last decades, put it that way, for sure. So, but anyways, let's dive in. So the first thing I just kind of wanted to talk about just the overall state of the insurance marketplace. Things of that nature. Hold on a second, having a problem clicking the slide. But it's kind of interesting. We've got a tropical storm. We're actually just named what Elsa hurricane, kind of bearing down or getting close to Florida or whatnot. We'll see more what's to come in the next couple of days, I guess. But you can tell without a doubt we're in a tropical state. And so this was a graphic of the small hurricane. Actually, that's Hurricane Andrew, and then that large hurricane behind it, that's actually Hurricane Irma. And so just that was why it was so crazy, if you remember at all, just the media and everything of that nature. Of that was one of the largest storms, if not the largest storm as far as land wise. And so you can really see the difference from a satellite view. I thought that was an interesting graphic, so I've got that in here for sure. But here's just a couple things, from a high level that I just kind of wanted to hit that I think are really, really good details when it comes to the insurance industry right now. Just kind of an overview of what's happening in the Florida insurance market. Why are the Florida insurance rates increasing drastically? We do see that, and steps you can take to make sure you have the proper coverage, even for a customer, things of that nature. How to prepare your home and business, and what can be done to reduce your overall insurance costs. So we might not hit all those. We'll hit some of the ones geared more to the what's kind of happening with rates and what you can do to kind of reduce your overall insurance costs are probably the best to look at today. But yeah, so basically, right now there's a lot of rate changes. I would say the average rate change that we're seeing, depending on where the home's located, things of that nature, can be anywhere from like 30 to 40%, is probably the average that's happening. And lots of cancellations. When I say lots of cancellations, underwriting cancellations and non-renewals for maybe an older roof that's over 20 years old, tougher underwriting, non-renewals in some areas. That's kind of happening, depending on if the company has too much risk in that area or they're insuring too many homes. They might be backing off some, so we're seeing that. A little bit less competition these days. So I'm an independent insurance agent, so we write for about every carrier in the state that's non-captive, and so the competition is definitely um, a lot less right now because of the tougher underwriting. Got several carriers that are requiring like 10 years or newer on roofs right now, and so that's really why I say it definitely hurts the competition piece for sure. And then the overall growth of the area is definitely putting some pressure on the insurance carriers as well. They don't want to hit capacities and things of that nature. But why are the insurance rates increasing drastically? A lot of it has to do with the litigation from the prior hurricanes and things of that nature. There's some fee multipliers in the state of Florida that are very, very lucrative on the attorney side of it. And so that is really driving up a lot of the costs. So basically give you the rundown. So of all the property insurance claims in the nation, that's the United States or whatnot, 71% of them that have a lawsuit attached to them are right here in Florida. So, 71% of the claims that have a lawsuit are in Florida. So what does that do? At the end of the day, that's going to increase rates dramatically because of just the pure cost to litigate claims and things of that nature. Now, I will tell you that it's like, well, are the insurance companies just not paying claims, or what's kind of going on with that? Well, if you look at the statistics on the Florida Office of Insurance Regulation, when claims are filed and settled or closed, 96% of them are closed. So that's a big deal. So a lot of times the claim is being handled properly and everything of that nature. There's just been a lot of tactics that have really hurt the insurance industry. I would say the consumer as a whole when it comes to just rates increasing. So yeah, that's really big. That's probably the biggest thing, that the litigation, and then the less competition is another thing as well. Is going to hurt the industry as a whole for sure. But yeah, without a doubt, just the catastrophes over the last, prior to this year, the major hurricanes from like 2016, 17, and 18 really put a stressor on the insurance market or whatnot. But has anybody seen on your homeowners? Have you seen like where you're showing a home, or the current homeowners got a lot less rate, or have you seen that at all on any of your properties? No. Yeah, I mean, I was just working on one just recently, dealing with the home was out on Sanibel Island, and the current owner's rate was a whole lot less, but the carrier's not currently writing anymore, and the underwriting's changed. So there was about a 30-40% difference in that rate. So we're definitely seeing that for sure. But here's a couple things that you can do as just as a consumer, or even tell your customers, things of that nature. The best practices to do is to review the coverage with the agent, make sure nothing's missing, and prior to a catastrophe, check the carrier's rating and ask claims experience. I think that's the number one thing, is what is the claims experience with the carrier is important. And you want to make sure you're with an A-rated company or whatnot. And this is the big thing, and I think this applies even to homes that you're listing, or homes that you could be selling, or you're showing to a buyer, is those 4 points of the home. And that's probably vital for anything in the industry right now. So what are those? That's really what the insurance company is looking at. So if you have a home that's only about 10 years old, not a big deal. But homes that get a little bit older, they're looking at these 4 points, and one's the roof, one's the plumbing, one's the electrical, and one's the AC. And if those are properly maintained and updated within reason, that is very, very good when it comes to getting a policy in place, or if you're selling a home for a or listing a home. If you've got those things pretty well updated within the last 20 years or so, that's really, really good. Roofs definitely within the last 15 if it's a shingle roof, 25 if it's tile or metal, would be a really, really good thing to make sure. But those 4 points are really important. Absolutely. This is just a basic homeowner's policy. The couple things that are covered. You got your dwelling, you got your other structures, you got your personal property, loss of use, and then you're going to have your deductibles, things of that nature. But that's a good overview of kind of what's covered in a homeowner's policy, whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of an overview of it. We'll skip through that one today. But yeah, comprehensive homeowners insurance policy is going to cover those things in 2 sections. And so the best thing to do to prepare is just make sure you have a plan. I mean, that's the number one thing of, like, if you're in the event you're going to have, you potentially have roof damage to a home, or if something's going to happen, your business is going to have to be shut for a little while, just have a plan in place. I would say that was the one thing that we learned from Irma, just to have a proper plan in place. And, take care of your family. Those things are most important. And, the local government in Florida is definitely fantastic whenever it comes to hurricane not claims, hurricane preparedness, things of that nature. We've got some of the best. We've been through that a lot, so our local government officials can be very helpful with that stuff of letting us know when to evacuate and things of that nature. But let's dive into, like, here's the things that can kind of be done to help reduce overall insurance costs, or keep a customer that may be looking at a new home not get sticker shock, or whatnot. We'll skip over the annual reviews. That's what you'll want to do if you currently own the home. But the couple big things that I want to hit today are the wind mitigation inspection and that 4-point inspection. So we talked a little bit about those 4 points, and those are probably the best things that you can keep updated. And we'll dive into what those are a little bit deeper. And then the wind mitigation inspection, you probably have heard that term a lot, but it means a lot more today, because those are a percentage reduction on the homeowner's insurance. And they mean a lot more today. The reason I'm saying that is because the rates have increased dramatically, and it's based on the wind portion of the premium. So these wind mitigation inspections, or updating these roofs, or adding the clip credit in there, or hurricane protection, actually can be very beneficial these days on a home that doesn't have those things already. So something to look at. If you're getting a high, quote or rate, is there something off on the wind mitigation inspection that could be changed or altered to help with the insurance rate? And the 4-point inspection, those are the things that, from an eligibility standpoint, help the customer get the best rate, or whatnot. So that's really a good thing. So this is a good overview of kind of when these inspections are needed. So wind mitigation inspection, when is it needed? So it's needed on a home that's 2002 and older. And generally, if it's 2002 and newer, so 2001 and older. And then if it's 2002 and newer, it's not needed. A wind mitigation inspection is not. Now, we will want to maybe know if that roof's been updated since 2002, because that could, one, be an eligibility issue, or that could be something that could help with the rate. A lot of carriers are giving discounts of the rates within the last 5 years. So anyways, wind mitigation inspection, extremely important on a home that's 2001 and older. And 2002 and newer automatically gets a lot of the credits built in. So not going to make so much of a difference on there for sure. But yeah, any home older than that, make sure you're getting a wind mitigation inspection. And I would ask the insurance agent or whoever you're getting a quote with, is there anything else that could be done to help reduce this rate? Because right now I've seen sometimes the wind mitigation, one of the factors, there's 7 of them on there. One of the factors can make, $1,000 to $1,200 difference, depending on where the home is, of course, but it can be really important. So 4-point inspections are typically not required on a home that is not over 30 years old. So 30 years old is the magic number for a 4-point inspection when it's needed. But a lot of times the insurance carrier is going to want to know a couple updates on anything a little bit more recent. So typically they want to know, is the water heater within 15 or 20 years, depending on their underwriting guidelines. So that's important. And then is the roof, depending on what type of roof it is. I will tell you that most carriers right now are 15 years and newer on a shingle roof. So anything shingle wise that you might be showing a home, or you might be selling a home or whatnot, then that's an important thing to have kind of discussed, or whatnot, probably prior to showing or listing. What's the age of the roof? And kind of knowing those things are going to make it tough to get insurance. Absolutely. So wind mitigation, 4 points. The 4 point, again, is that overview of the roof, plumbing, electrical, and AC. And here's what we're looking at when it comes to a wind mitigation inspection. So these are the 7 points that they're looking at. So the roof to wall connection, the shape of the roof, believe it or not, that matters on your homeowner's insurance in a big way. Hip roofs are the more preferred one. There's a little diagram of that at the bottom left of this image. And hip roofs are just more aerodynamic. So after Hurricane Andrew, that's when a lot of that stuff came out. And so non-hip roofs, a little bit higher on the rating. Age of roof covering is going to matter on the wind mitigation inspection. Secondary water barrier. Almost all your new roofs in the last 10 years will have that secondary water barrier. And then opening protection. Anything dealing with the hurricane protection, shutters is one, impact glass, and roof deck attachment, dealing with how the plywood is actually nailed down. So those are those 7 points when it comes to a wind mitigation inspection. The one thing I would say is, I get this question a lot, and I figured I'd maybe answer it for you, is does it matter if it's impact glass or if it has hurricane shutters? And the reality is actually it's the same credit. So just as long as they have hurricane protection that meets a code approval, whether it's the fancy shutters or it's the impact resistant glass, it's extremely expensive sometimes. That is the one thing there. No, it's the same credit. So absolutely, just need to have all openings protected, and you can get that credit for sure. And it doesn't matter if the product is a lot more expensive or anything of that nature. Here's what a hurricane clip looks like in an attic. This was on a wood frame home, but that's what they're looking at. Minimum of 3 nails needed there. Sometimes that's an easy retrofit if it doesn't have those 3 nails. And yeah, absolutely, that can definitely, right now, this credit can be pretty substantial. It's a percentage and it changes depending on the policy, but pretty substantial credit. Also, here's a couple different roofs. So shingle roofs, we hit on that a little bit. So you really kind of want to make sure those are probably within the last 15 years these days to get the best pricing on insurance and eligibility wise. So if you're showing a home or you're listing a home, very, very important to address that roof. If it's a shingle roof, I got a picture of one there. If it's a metal or tile roof, most of the time the carrier will allow up to 25 years on a metal or tile roof right now. And so that's the year. So you could be problematic and very, very limited options if you had a roof over 25 years old right now. So there's a lot of that out there, or whatnot. Sometimes a customer of ours might have that. We're telling them it's best to stay put with their carrier they have now, even with a rate change, because underwriting is extremely tough on roofs right now. And one reason would be why substantial amount of claims, not just hurricane related, but just wind damage, water damage wise, in the last 3 years that have definitely changed the industry's underwriting when it comes to roofs. So there's a couple things on the roof age dealing with a tile, metal, and shingle roof for sure. So like I said, here's a picture just of the opening protection. Can be a pretty good credit. A lot of newer homes, almost all newer homes that are coastal are required to have that. And again, if it's a brand new home, the carrier a lot of times will give that credit automatically. But yeah, it doesn't matter if it's impact glass or it's a simple shutter panel like this, as long as it's got a Florida Building Code approved product, which anything being installed by a licensed installer would be these days. it's fine, and it would meet that for a credit, and definitely can make a major difference, especially on some older homes. So the 4 points, this is just a good image of kind of what's kind of looked at as in the 4 points, and you've got the heating, the roof, the electrical, AC and heating, and plumbing. And so we're really looking at those couple things. And the big thing is there on those. So with the heating and air conditioning, they're looking to see those have been updated, or there's been just some recent updates to it or whatnot within the last 20 years. Kind of hit on the roof stuff, about 15 years on a shingle roof, or newer. Some carriers are 10 years. So the most recent, if it's just recently replaced in the last 5 years, that's really, really good when it comes to finding an insurance, homeowners insurance, or property insurance policy. Electrical updates are important. The big thing there is some problematic panels that maybe have a fire hazard. One's called a Federal Pacific, one's a Zensco panel, and Challenger panels can be a challenge as well. And so those are really the thing. And then the other one is on the electrical, is that there's not any aluminum wiring. So anything branching out for outlets, plugs, things of that nature. And then the plumbing, the big thing there is just that the plumbing's in satisfactory condition. And then the water heater, most carriers are liking to see those water heaters updated within the last 15 years. And the reason why, substantial, our second claim other than like wind and hurricane on roofs, is definitely water damage. So it's a way that underwriting has just been put into place to make sure that the water heater is not going to cause a problem, or whatnot. So within the last 15 years is important on those or whatnot. The other thing on plumbing, one other thing you probably hear a lot, or if you haven't heard a lot, watch out for is when you're maybe showing a home, or if there's existence of polybutylene plumbing, can be a very, very tough risk to insure. Yeah, so I would say if I was going to list a home that had polybutylene plumbing, I'd maybe just do a little due diligence and go ahead and get a quote on what it would cost to replace, and or whatnot, because I think it's going to be something that could definitely slow down the transaction once the you got a contract and they find out, oh, we can't get insurance because it's got polybutylene plumbing. Same thing, if you had an older roof, I'd maybe do that as well. Hey, why don't we look at, if I was going to list a home, the roof age, things of that, what would it cost? Is that something we can, add it, put it into the price now or whatnot? And yeah, those are really good, I would say, just some due diligence would be really helpful, because the one thing you don't want is to get a contract probably, and people go out to get a quote for insurance and like, oh, well, we can't do it because this isn't updated or that's not updated. So anyways, those are the two big ones that I tell you we see on a daily basis, is things dealing with roofs and things dealing with the plumbing system, a little bit electrical. The the main thing is on the when it comes to deductibles and coverage. So there's definitely some things that from a deductible standpoint that can be done to help reduce cost. And then all of the peril deductibles. So that's for anything other than a hurricane. And then in Florida, we've got a separate hurricane deductible. And so that's how it's kind of put in there. And again, the basic coverages on a dwelling, other structures, personal property, and loss of use is basically those are kind of the basic nuts and bolts of any homeowner's policy, liability in there as well. But yeah, so there's kind of a quick update on some things. There's there's some of my team or whatnot, and we definitely are very, very good when it comes to the flood insurance side of things. And I will tell you, there is some additional things happening flood insurance wise coming October 1st. Stay in tune with that for sure. So what do I mean by that? They're changing some of the way that they're doing the rating through the National Flood Insurance Program, and more updates to come on that. But some people might see a reduction based on their location, the flood zone, things of that nature, and some might see an increase. So it's important if you're showing a home or to a buyer or listing a home or whatnot, and it's in a flood zone, some things might be changing. Again, that effective date is going to be October 1st. That's a major change to the National Flood Insurance Program, where they're changing some of the ratings. And I would say that most of them are going to be within a 10% increase, decrease, depending on location. And so they're using a lot more technology to rate flood these days, and with the new rating versus the old just stagnant flood maps and things of that nature. So a lot more to come on that. And we'll be able to actually start quoting those August 1st. But I do think that might have a little bit of disruption in the market because of just the flood changes. And so if you're showing a home in a flood zone, or you're showing a buyer a home in a flood zone, or you're listing a home in a flood zone, maybe check the flood zone. What would flood insurance be? Just so you kind of have an idea. Could be a really helpful tactic or whatnot. But that's kind of a little bit of overview of what's kind of happening in the insurance market and what the changes that we're kind of seeing. But yeah, the best advice I could say right now is those from a real estate perspective is the wind mitigation inspection and that 4-point inspection are vitally important to the insurance piece of the transaction right now. But yeah, other than that, let's just open it up to some questions, and anything that I talked about or anything that you maybe have a question on insurance wise, jump in and ask those questions, and I'm happy to answer them.
I see one question, seawalls, any info on them?
Seawalls. So as far as if they're covered or not, as far as a seawall would not be covered under a regular homeowner's policy, anything of that nature. But yeah, as far as, unless it's for like fire or anything of that nature, but flooding only covers a building. So a lot of times that would be factored under a flood loss. And yeah, flood policies don't cover seawalls. You guys can chat them too. I actually pulled up that chat feature. So yeah, let me know if you got anything else or whatnot, or all my contact information we can send out, but it was on that last slide too. And just use this as a resource, but if we can be helpful in any way, let me know. I've got a full team behind me that's able to answer any questions. And yeah, definitely know very well what's going on in this marketplace. So if you see something challenging, give us a call. We'd love to help, or an email or a text.
Does anyone have any more questions for Blake before we end? We thank him so much for being with us. Any more questions? Just note that this Lunch and Learn Ask the Expert series is being recorded, and a link will be sent to the members. So if you missed anything, you can always click the link and listen to this recording again. So again, thank you, Blake, for being with us. If there are no more questions, or you have anything else you want to let us know?
Don't have anything else from me for sure. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. It's always good to kind of chat about what's kind of happening in the industry. And
Yes.
I'm glad there's a recording there. I will send out these slides, or whatnot. Maybe if you throw your email in the chat or whatnot, I can email those over to you, or I'll send them to you, Angela. Maybe you have a roster and you can
Yes, just send them to me and I'll get them out. No problem.
Hey, that's the best for sure. Yeah, I would say that that 4-point wind mitigation, there's a flyer in there, not a flyer, but a slide that would be fantastic to have. And yeah, if you got any questions on some of the stuff that's happening in the flood, let me know. Take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Everyone have a great weekend and be safe out there.
Absolutely.